Thank you for coming. Today we are here to listen to Sarah and Annette, and they're going to tell us more about how to beautify your listing and to attract more high-value bookings. Before we start, I would like to share with you some housekeeping things. Okay, so to let you know that this master class is being recorded and will be made available on our YouTube channel after it's over for you to rewatch. Also, if you have any questions, please leave them in the Q&A session and upvote the ones that you like, and we'll get back to them in the QA session. Also, we have Brian from our team who's also going to be in the chat. Thank you, Brian, and he's gonna help out with some of the questions. And lastly, we have our social media handles here. Today, we're going to listen to a lot of insightful and useful information. So we encourage you to share, tag us, post on stories, all of that, tell your friends and fellow hosts. So without further ado, I would like to give the floor to Matthew.
Thank you so very much, Stelly. Hey, everyone. Welcome. Hey, Brian. Fist bump. We'll make it happen there. So welcome. Thanks so much for joining us here today. As Stelly said, my name is Matthew. I'm the VP Customers here at Hospitable.
I'm sorry.
I am... No worries. No worries. I'm super thrilled to host these two amazing individuals who are true experts in our industry. Sarah Karakaian, Annette Grant. They're going to show us how to create the perfect listings so that we can attract to more high value bookings. So make sure you stay until the end because we do have a couple special offers for you tonight. But getting back into it, we know the visual element has always been an important aspect of your listing, especially now with the Airbnb updates. The look of your listing is more important than ever. So they're going to share some tips, how to style your listing, how to pick the right interior design elements, along with letting you know how to create that perfect listing. And I'll get started and give them a brief intro here. But Sarah and Annette actually connected at a city council meeting. I wish I could have seen that recording, to fight for the right to operate ethical, hospitality-focused short-term rentals in Columbus. And I absolutely love that in so many ways. The duo joined forces to teach others how to host with heart. Thanks for visiting. Their weekly podcast has over 150 episodes that are jam-packed, absolutely full of actionable advice for all of you short-term rental enthusiasts out there. Make sure to give it a listen. And what's more, Sarah and Annette actually practice what they preach. Together, they run a $1 million hosting company with metropolitan and vacation rental properties. Now, after those introductions, it's time to go ahead and kick this off. I don't know about you. I'm super excited. You're going to hear so many good, useful tips. And as Stelly mentioned, make sure to post about the event on social, spread the word so we can reach more hosts because they have some fantastic content to share with you here today. Again, use that chat, use the Q&A at the end of the session. We're going to have a 15, 20 minute. We'll see how far we get along. A Q&A with our guests. So please go ahead, throw them in there, upvote. And with that said, Sarah, Annette, floor is yours. Please. Thank you so much.
Great, awesome. Thank you so much for that intro. I'm Sarah of Sarah and Annette.
And I'm Annette.
All right, we're going to share our screen here. I'm going to try to so that you don't see my entire chaotic life. All right, here we go. All right, everyone see the screen okay? Annette's going to monitor the chat for me over here.
Yeah, if you see me looking away, I'm just playing wing person over here.
All right, so designing short-term rentals. It is so different than designing your personal home. Not so different, but there are some key elements from designing your personal home. And then if you're in real estate at all, it's very different from staging to sell. So sometimes that gets confused with what works in short-term rentals. All right, so as we like to say, the secret is in the stage. The secret to making more money is in the stage. So well-designed short-term rentals will make you more money. Do you want to tell them the story we just heard last week or 2 weeks ago at that conference?
Yes, and we wish, I don't have the analytics, but I'm going to get them from the presenter. They took 2 identical properties, same square footage, same bedroom count, same bathroom count, within like a couple, maybe couple hundred yards of each other. And the the one rental was making around, I think it was $100,000 more a year than the other rental. It was a beach rental. And yes, did they have to make an initial upfront investment in that design, but it is going to pay dividends, guest after guest after guest, reservation review. Their return on investment is going to really outweigh what it was to put that initial investment in.
Right. So we have a checklist that we're going to go through with you later on this presentation, and we just appreciate you coming today. So we're going to drop a link in the chat. We'll drop it a few times. Feel free, please, to stay focused on the presentation, and we'll drop it at the end as well.
Yep.
But in case you want to get it now and follow along, we will go through it with you. But over our many years of hosting, we have compiled all the things that we put into all of our short-term rentals, and we know that'll be really helpful for you. Maybe your short-term rental's already up and running. You can cross-reference things that are on our list to what you have in your home. It might be really helpful. Mm-hmm. So that's coming your way. All right, but first a little bit about Annette and myself. Our quick bio. I know Matthew shared a little bit about us, but really our backgrounds are quite different. And that is why we love what we've done, what we're creating, because we have two different backgrounds. So like I said, we're Sarah and Annette, and we know our stuff. So combined, we've welcomed over 7,500 guests. It's probably even more than that right now. Earned over $1 million in hosting alone. And we have a boutique hosting company. So we're not managing hundreds and hundreds of units. We have less than 50. And of course, our podcast, we have over 700,000 downloads. Excited. We will hit 1 million this year. And that's really exciting for us. And over 160 episodes. And at the end of this presentation, I've highlighted all the episodes that have to do with design, in case you want a little bit more information about this topic, because design equals dollars. So this is my first short-term rental experience. Was actually televised on HGTV.
Look at that hair.
My hair was very short.
I like it.
I flipped a beach house over 8 episodes on a show called Beach Flip. And it was a short-term rental on Gulf Shores, which, by the way, is a fantastic market. I learned a lot with a decent amount of people watching. My husband and I launched our interior design and construction architecture company a year before that. And we've been super hosts since 2015. Used to work in hotels, worked with Airbnb a few times. We own and we manage short-term rentals. So we really have a wide understanding of being owners and being property managers for others.
And this is me. I got my start in short-term rentals partnering with large developers. So I was going into their very, very unique apartments and building amazing short-term rentals. I have a storied business operations background. I've helped build a couple of companies that have now sold, but this was going to be, short-term rentals is going to be my in-between my next career. And it turned into my next career because it is amazing. I love all the guests. I love all of the hosts. Thought I'd be making connections with the guests, but I'm actually way closer with all of the hosts around the world now than the guests. And hosts are an amazing community. So you are in good company with everybody on this call today.
Yes. All right. So a little bit about what you're going to learn today. I kind of mapped it out. Today we'll cover attracting your ideal guest, photography. And as you all know, photography is what attracts them. And then how are you going to keep those ideal guests? So once they come and they stay with you, how are they going to come back and stay with you again? Actually, let me know in the chat right now. Is getting repeat guests something that's at the top of your mind? Because it should be. Type a 1 if it is. Awesome.
Yep.
Because you know what happens when you have repeat guests? Not only are you more at ease because you know who they are, they've stayed with you before, you feel comfortable, but guess what? They are as comfortable as well, right? They know how to check in. They know how to turn the AC on, the heat on, what have you. It's this really lovely partnership when you find someone who's meant to stay in your space. So we got to attract the right people, and then we want to ask them to come back. But when they come, we have to give them a reason to come back, right? A really great experience. And then we're going to talk about how the turnover, so cleaning it from one guest to another, how that relates to design, because it does, it is directly related. And then what if you're not a designer? Who can you find to help you and hire it out? Because And then Annette and I do one thing really well. It's find other people do things that we are not good at. Do not be ashamed if today you're just taking it in so that when you hire someone to help you, you know the questions to ask, you know what to look for. That's just as important as DIYing. All right, so this next section, I'm going to go over some just really tactical tips. Like here's an answer for you. Here's what will attract people. All right. So take some screenshots. I'm not sure if you can watch this again. So if you can't, take some screenshots, but these are just ideas to attract your guests. Bold statements stand out online. You want to talk to me a little about that?
Sure. This is something, again, remember that your guests, they're not getting you ready. They can't walk through your property. They don't know you're, maybe the Ritz-Carlton. They've stayed in some of your other locations before. You have got to stand out online when they are perusing, most likely on their phone. Our digital real estate that we get is very small. So you really want to stand out there. What are some things that we can do? We can do some wallpaper, some paint, like, an accent wall. Is there something on the exterior that you can design? And that's one thing we want to talk about. We are not just talking about the interior of your home. There could be something on the exterior of your home that will really pull in the guests. So these are the things. Go through, get out your phone, put in your zip code, and just scroll through and see what other people are doing to stand out online. It might be art. It might be a piece of amazing furniture. It might be something architectural in your home, but please, we want you to start with at least one thing that is going to catch that potential guest's eye.
Because remember, it's that moment, right? We're not like when you go to buy a house, you can sign up with an appointment with your realtor and then you show up, you can walk it. Maybe if you're in a market these days, you can hem and haw a little bit and decide. No, with our guests, they're looking at pictures and that's how they're deciding. They might read your listing, but really it's those pictures that stand out. And so you want to make sure you don't have the same design concept as your direct competitor either. So really do some research. How can you differentiate yourself from those that are nearby you? We're going to go over some ways that you can do that. Okay. As Matthew mentioned, Airbnb has changed their dashboard, like their landing page, right? Like when you show up there now, they show you categories at the top. And to get into one of those categories is, you have to have something that those categories are feeding from, right? So if guests are looking for a tree house, you have to have a tree house. There's an OMG. So, oh my God, what makes a property? Oh my God, there's a design category. What does that mean? All you can do at this point is lean into something hard, do something different, and know that the left side of your screen is no longer cutting it. Gone are the days, and I'm sad they even existed, but gone are the days where just throwing, your old bed in there, you're dragging up a mattress that was in your attic for years, throwing some pillows on the bed, not even caring if your artwork is level or not on the left side of your screen. I also want you to take notice because we're going to talk a little about windows. Notice on the left side of your screen how that window, it just is number one, it's what is a white spot in the photo, but there's nothing dressing it up. There's nothing eye-catching there. As opposed to the right side of your screen, right? We have a really nice, clean bed. That bed is not put together by hex screws. It's actually wood joinery so that when people do what they do in beds, it's beautiful, it's sturdy. You're not gonna have to go and fix the bed or tighten the screws between turns. The curtains are a different color than the rest of the room, and that green against the red brick, those two colors that are red and green always complement each other really well. It's that bold statement. That picture is going to stand out online as opposed to this dull picture on the left. We're going to dissect more of these theories in the next few slides, but just so you guys can see what you're up against. All right, so design ideas that you can implement today. It was really important to me that I was Annette, I want to give them those things that when I just get started, or maybe you already have a place and you're okay, after today's presentation, it's already up and running. You don't want to put a ton of money into it because you're getting 5-star reviews, but could you do something a little extra just to get more eyes on your listing, maybe get more competition so you can drive that price up a little bit?
Let's do it.
This might be one of Nettie's favorite topics.
Yes, wallpaper. It's easy. You don't have to. Here's why I like wallpaper. You don't have to commit to it. You might think you have to commit to it. You can't. There is so much peel and stick wallpaper now, and you can put it on one wall. You can put it in a small space. You can put it on the ceiling. And this is something that you can, order it online, have it delivered, and, install it. It's going to take a little bit of time. I'm not going to lie. Sarah's our chief wallpaper installer. I oversee it, but it is something truly that, look at this room. That is wallpaper. It's easy to install. It's peel and stick. If you get sick of it or the trends changes, you can, pull it down and put something else up or just repaint.
And let's talk about the reason why a black wallpaper with gold accents was chosen for this room. I know that when we have a new listing, the photographer is going to do a few things. We're going to go over photography best practices as well. But we are in the back corner of the room. It's actually the door where the guest enters. And so when I have a new listing, I look in that back corner and I'm not even thinking like, what do I like about this space in general? I'm thinking, what is the photographer going to capture that is going to live on my listing, and which image is going to be what I like to call my hero image? That image that's most likely going to live as my first image most of the time, that's really going to draw people in. And I like the black here towards the back of the room because this is a long apartment. You can see it continues on to the bedroom back there. That black wall just, it shows you how long it is without it feeling like you don't know what's back there. Mm-hmm. And it's just stinking cute. Mm-hmm. So this is a Stevie Nicks themed apartment, and we'll talk about themes in a little bit, but you can see while it's themed Stevie Nicks, I don't have like a bunch of like just photos of Stevie Nicks throughout the apartment, right? It's got this like, I don't know, like moody, dark, vintage, dark, but glam feel to it. So when you think theme, you don't have to be so literal. It can just be this like hint of something you want to do.
We learned this from someone that is legend. His name is Chip Conley in the hotel and short-term rental space. When you're talking about your ideal client, think about what magazine would they be reading? Who do you think is going to stay in your spot? What magazine is that? What are the photos in that magazine? Who are the advertisers in that magazine? And think about all of those styles and combine it. So I think it's just a really great visual. When, if you think Rolling Stone, what do you pick up? You kind of know who's going to be advertising and what the articles are going to be about. If it's like, there are so many, if it's Sports Illustrated, if it's GQ, if it's things like that, you know what you're going to get inside. And that's how you can help develop the design inside the property.
No, that was a great tip from Chip. That rhymed. All right, here is another use of wallpaper. This is a collegiate themed space again, and we'll go over into like a few other aspects about this photo, but the darker paper, now it doesn't always have to be darker. Maybe your walls are darker, and so you want a lighter paper, but that contrast is going to stick out online. But you can see here the range of wallpaper designs. They truly are endless. And also you can see in this photo, we have really standard luxury vinyl flooring. We have very, very standard sub-white tile for the kitchen backsplash. The walls are a standard white. And this was done on purpose. And I do this on purpose a lot because now I can layer on the decor and I can have some fun that way. But the bones of the property are just classic and timeless, and I can have fun with it over the lifetime of the rental.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's important too. We want everybody to understand, Sarah and I, for all of our properties, we have a 1.0, which is like the necessities to get it open. Then 2.0 is like, oh man, we really love to have this piece of art or maybe another piece of furniture we'd like to be in. But look, we're realistic. We're business owners. We have to have different budgets. And as we start to earn, we're like, hey, when we hit these sales goals, we can then purchase that next thing. And then we have 3.0. So we just want to encourage you, don't be overwhelmed and think you have to spend all of your money, drain the bank account on the design. Be aware you can add these things in because you are going to crush it, and the dollars are going to come the other way, and you're going to need to refresh and update.
Phase 2, what I would love to do in this space, see those pendants, you can actually barely see them because they're clear. Phase 2, I might do something a little bit bigger, a little bit bolder. It's got some texture to it, but this definitely stands out online. This rental does really well. Just one other idea for you. You don't have to have wallpaper just in the living room on an accent wall. It can spruce up. This was an older bathroom that we didn't have a lot of money to update it. If you can see on the wall, we'll talk about this in a little bit too. We've got wall paneling. It's like a board and batten. And then we've got wallpaper that's lining the top of it. It really just, it sticks out. And when you're there, we'll talk about keeping your guest. It's clean. It's reinvented. It's refreshing.
Can anyone let us know in the chat? Put a 1 if you do have wallpaper or you anticipate using any wallpaper elements in your property.
Are you sold on wallpaper?
Heck yeah, lots of 1s.
Excellent.
I like it. I like
so,
it.
And just don't think wallpaper's on your walls. You can have unexpected wallpaper. I love putting wallpaper or doing, if you like more of a painter, there are stencils you can get. I've stenciled the inside of closets, like more prominent closets, like a master closet or a primary closet. So you open the door or a pantry, just a fun element like that. And so in a photo for a listing, you can have that door open in a kitchen. And it's just like, we have a saying, how you do anything is how you do everything. So if I am wallpapering the inside of a really great pantry, my gosh, these hosts they're detail oriented. You could put wallpaper on a ceiling. That's a great way, especially your really tall ceilings. Not that you want to bring it down, but it just makes it feel a little bit more intimate. It's unexpected. All right. This might be my favorite trick and tip of all time is lighting. The amount of lighting you can get on discount websites like Amazon, Wayfair, things like that are endless. IKEA, right? And as long as you dust them and keep them up to, keep them clean over time, like you don't have to spend a lot of money. And if you get something, even if it's like a bigger one, like this one, but it's got a lot of elements where like you can see through the metal isn't really thick and bulky. So it's not weighing down the room. But on my listing, it's drawing my eye up. It's that dark metal against the white walls and white ceiling. And it sets the tone for the room. It's got this like Pottery Barn vibe to it. So if I'm more of like I don't know what kind of magazine is Pottery Barn, but Martha Stewart or something like that. Maybe this is Martha's Vineyard or this is like, I don't know, right? But it's got a vibe to it. Also with lighting, one of my favorite tips, make sure, I have a lot of actually lighting tips. We'll go to the next picture so you can look at another picture. Make sure all your bulbs are the same tone, okay? So you don't want to have and not only same tone, but so there are daylight bulbs in most markets and there are soft white, okay? Daylight, it sounds like, oh, I want like the sun to be in my space. No, daylight bulbs are meant for like garages, basements, workspaces, okay? You've got this like blue tone to them and they're actually quite not pleasant to be in. They're not relaxing. Soft white bulbs are relaxing. They are a little bit more yellow in tone. They're warmer, I would say. And I like them to be right around 2,700 kelvins to 3,000 kelvins. And it says it right there on the box. So when you check your bulbs, next time you go to your short-term rental, when you're shopping for bulbs, make sure you're getting the same, 2,700 to 3,000, same range, soft white. And of course, make sure it's the right wattage for your light fixture, okay? I like to my light fixtures too to have more than one bulb or more than 2 bulbs. So at least 3 or more. So the one you saw in the living room before had like, I don't know, 6 to 8. This guy has 6 to 7. It's just a great way to like really spread light out in your place. And I call it secondary lighting. So you've got the recessed lights, then you've got your light fixtures, then you got the lamps around the home. Letting your guests really customize their lighting. Mm-hmm. Lamps also aren't that expensive. You can find really affordable ones, and it's a great way to customize lighting. You'll see in this picture, actually, I want to talk about curtains, but there is a really cool fixture on the ceiling. You'll see the lamp in the back corner is taller than the lamp that's on the other side of the sofa, between the sofa and the table. Those lamps are the same design aesthetic. It's very like West Elmy. It's kind of mid-century modern. But I'm taking this like hierarchy with the lamps too. And that's done very purposefully for this photo. But now we're gonna talk about curtains. So curtains, I'm gonna teach you how to hang a curtain as well. But Annette, the curtain thing was like, a light bulb moment.
I'll be honest, most of the properties that I've lived in or I hosted in prior, I had the shades and I was like, okay, that's doing it. But Sarah introduced me to my love of curtains, and man, they're multifunctional for the guest. And that's what I love is when we can buy one thing that can do multiple things for the guest. And what I love is it is a design element. And then B, if you get blackout curtains, that really caters to the guests that either maybe they're just having a difficult time sleeping in a new place, or they want to sleep in because they are on vacation. But if you can have curtains that are excellent part of your design and then also blackout, it's a 2-for-1 return on investment. So get some curtains, hang them up. They are amazing and easy to clean and also easy to switch out. They're inexpensive. That's how you can start to change your design. Like Sarah was saying, with lamps and curtains, you can switch those out and refresh those really easily.
Here's how to hang your curtains, in my opinion, and how not to hang your curtains, in my opinion. On the left side of your screen, you're going to see that everything's really close to like that window opening, right? You've got the curtain rod is like right above the window, and the legs are really covering up a lot of the window. And it's like, it's fine, and especially if it's a nice bold color and it complements your space well, great. But on the right side of the screen, we actually hang the curtain rod quite high. Sometimes I'll go as high as the ceiling. And then I'll put the bracket about 3 inches from either side of the window, as long as my rod can stretch beyond that. I'm creating visually this bigger, more grandiose opening to the outside world. And I promise you, it's going to make your room feel more grand. So next time you hang curtains, make sure you're hanging the rod up high and nice and wide, and having the legs just kiss the side of the windows. Your guests can totally close them if they want. This is, excuse me. You can either have them like the picture has right now, where the curtains are hitting the floor. You can have them slightly pull, like it's like P-O-O-L-E, pull on the floor, where they're like kind of like scrunch the bottom, but try not to have them too much, off the ground. It kind of looks like the curtains are too short.
They're like floods when you wear, your pants too short. So here you can see this unit has a lot of white walls everywhere. And we like that. They were painting over brick. It was necessary for us to do this for this property. And so we needed to have a pop of color here. And that's where these yellow curtains come into play. And visually, we love it. They're almost like a felt. So they look luxurious when you're in the property, the touch, the feel of them. And also they're blackout.
Yes. Again, you can see the tall lamp in the back corner brings my eye up towards that tall yellow curtain, which brings my eye up even further. And this photo is straight on. We're going to talk about photography in a little bit soon here, but everything is, this couch is in the middle of the room. It's kind of like a very bold statement to make in the photo. You want to make sure that your photographer is not just getting you photos from every corner. You want a drama shot too. And this is bringing some drama, especially for a small apartment. Wood features, I'll start picking up the pace a little bit. Yeah, wood features are also great. So this is just a wall that has simple, like 1x1 slats of wood. We just made a design out of nowhere, made it up ourselves, put it on the wall with a gun. And we had some texture there. Not on a wall is a kitchen island. This is also where you can have an unexpected element. This just makes the kitchen look richer and is just unexpected again.
And if you know, when you kick underneath your kitchen island, a lot of times people have shoes on, so the wall turns black. This is an easy way to disguise that. So this is some stuff over time too. It might help you with the wear and tear and just, the show that the guests have been there.
Yes. All right, more wood paneling and a great light fixture, and it's that straight on drama shot. I really like this shot. I really like the dark wall in the background, and in that mirror, it's reflecting the light fixture. So it's just kind of like doubling up on something that's really beautiful. This is also very eye-catching. Like Annette said, we want you to remember your exterior when you are taking photos of your place and designing your place. What makes your place stand out? So this is a downtown property of ours, like very historic, very congested. And I promise you, not very many people have a beautiful fire pit and a hot tub, and the hot tub has the jets going. And so it's a great way to have a little bit of drama. It's a still photo, but you can see that the bubbles are growing and it's inviting you in.
And by the way, that is the garage in the back. That is not the house. So if you're like, oh, cool, ladies, that's the garage. And you can kind of see how there's the exterior lighting also.
All right. And then you want to ask yourself, and I feel like there's a photo here not loading.
What's your wow?
What's your wow though? Like what about your property that it could really stand out? Like what's an amenity that not anyone else would have? I think this is my waterfall picture. We've got a property here in Ohio.
It's just not loading. It doesn't, it's too wowing. It's not even showing up.
But you're like, what about your property that you could really like sell someone else that no one else has? Maybe it's a creek that runs out back. Maybe it's a waterfall that you uncovered. I'll show you another example that's less nature-y. This one, so that piece of art on the right side of your screen, that is a frame TV. So when our guests walk in, they're like, oh, it's a beautiful piece of art. But then they realize it turns into their TV. I can't tell you how many reviews we've gotten mentioning our art TV so far. It's just a really unexpected way to add art and entertainment into a space.
And again, that goes back to what we were talking about, the curtains. It's something that can be, if you can find anything that can do two different tasks for your guest at the same time. So art and television, sign us up for that. It might seem like it's a bigger cost in the beginning, but it's actually a reduction over time.
When you're designing your short-term rental, there are 3 responses to design according to Milton Glaser, and it's yes, no, and wow. And we want to aim for wow. So does your rental, is it just like, meh, okay? Or does it stand out? Is there like color? Is there drama? Is there movement? Is there something special that no one else has? Let's talk photography very quickly. On the left side of your screen, you'll see potential guests first intro to a listing is online photos. So Airbnb is not exactly like Zillow, right? Like Zillow, you can schedule an appointment and see that house in person. Short-term rentals, usually you just book on sight unseen and you're just hoping that what you see is what you pay for. But it's also a great way to bring them into your world. You want to have a mix of real estate photos and lifestyle photos. I have examples for you of that coming up here. And of course, design decisions should be explained in captions. So if you're not utilizing your captions in your listing, so underneath the photos, that place where you can write something, it should be some copywriting. Like, don't say exactly what's in the photo. What mood do you want them to feel with that writing in that room?
We want you to know too, these photos, we encourage hosts to be on social media, whichever one you like, whether it be Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest. These photos you can use on so many platforms. So this is the reason we encourage you to take lots of photos and don't feel like, oh, I'm only going to be able to use them on my listing. You can use them in so many other places. We want you to get creative with it.
All right, so your photographer, hopefully you're hiring a professional with a fantastic camera. Do not skimp on this. Do not buy a beautiful property and then furnish it really well and then take pictures. I know the iPhone is a great phone, but you also have to have the skills yourself, what you do with your iPhone. So if you can hire a professional photographer, you want to shoot from the corners. We talked about that when you're designing, not only design about like what it's going to feel like when the guest is in there, but what is it going to look like from the photographer's eye on the listing? And you also want to have that straight to a flat wall shot, that drama shot. Remember your exterior, consider lifestyle shots. I'll show you what that means here in a moment. And of course, highlight your unique amenities throughout your rental. So even if your unique amenities is a crazy stocked kitchen, have beautiful photography of like your silverware and of open cabinets of all the different cookware you might have. Or maybe you offer YouTube TV, the paid version with no commercials. So you can have that like photoshopped onto your TV. Like there's a way these photos can talk to your potential guest.
Love it.
So here are just some really out of the box. I just went onto Airbnb and found some really cool designs that just, man, they stuck out to me. And I want to just real quick go over to you. So top left, I mean, those butterflies are crazy unexpected. And that arch in that window, if you've got unique architecture, how can you highlight it? They have the black outline of it. The picture below it, also unique architecture, but also simple. That's another design tip I have for you. Don't add a lot of knickknacks to your place. I know the top picture is actually very knick-knacky, but it's tough to clean. And we'll talk about that, how it relates to turnover process. On the top right, those swings that hang from the ceiling, that is unique. Definitely. And because there's symmetry here, we have the 3 windows with a hanging chair on either side and the couch in the middle. That is the perfect recipe for a drama shot, which is why this face-on shot is awesome. And you can see like what's outside. You've got a mountain, you've got a city. It's very, very cool. And the bottom photo is making a great use of color. It's like that other picture that we had where like we really went for like a lot of color, and that can very much stand out, but it's done really well. It doesn't feel chaotic. All right, so lifestyle photos. Again, this photo is not popping up, so we're gonna go to the next one. I have more than one example. Here's another example of lifestyle photo. Usually there's a human in it, and they're doing that thing that you imagine, you romanticize about your guests doing, like standing out on this balcony looking out at a view. These are all Levi Kelly photography. If most of them, I think, if you don't know who Levi Kelly is, check him out on Instagram and make sure I give him credit.
YouTube. Yep.
On YouTube. He is a short-term rental. I don't know. He takes pictures and videos of beautiful short-term rentals around the world. Here's this next one is oh no, I don't know why my slides are just doing this.
It's okay. But when you're doing the lifestyle photos also, like you saw in that photo, we saw that it was a human, but we couldn't see her face exactly. Yes. You want the potential guest to be able to put themselves there. So you can see, like, she was just looking out at the sunset. And so because I wasn't, paying attention to like exactly all of her features. I just saw that there was someone there. I could picture myself there. So a lot of times if you see maybe there's hot tub shots or maybe people sitting, outside drinking coffee, you'll see a lot of people will take them from like the back of their heads, so you can kind of envision
or just
what
their
your view would be,
hands
or
grabbing
their
for a
hands.
glass of wine or
So
their feet on
you
their
don't want to make it
ottoman.
personalized. Yeah. You want to depersonalize it for the person in the photo, but make it extremely easy for the potential guest to be envisioning themselves enjoying that same property.
Even this beautiful photo, it's got a glass of champagne, a plate, but that wood and that fire going, like I want that to be my glass of champagne, right? The photo that didn't load had 3 dogs on an ottoman, and so they're pet friendly. And what's a great way to have 3 adorable dogs? That is going to stop everyone from scrolling on Airbnb. This one, we do kind of see her face, but again, it's like she's in the middle of nowhere. There's a lot of wood, there's a lot of organic features. This is a beautiful hot tub. So don't be afraid to put humans in your photos.
I mean, you've got to make sure that it's approved though. Either they're people that you hired or a guest waiver signed off. So let me make that clear. Don't use images. Yeah. Don't use images without getting their approval.
But this is amenity and lifestyle. So with the lifestyle with the woman in the photo, and the amenity is the hot tub. So there are ways to showcase what you've got that sets you apart from everybody else. All right, now how are we going to keep that ideal guest? Oh, this is such a good topic too, but I know I have to keep running. Here is that checklist that we are going to give you if you'd like it. Nettie will drop the link in again. Yeah. Again, it's our comprehensive list of all the things that we include in our short-term rentals. This is how you're going to keep your guests and then come back. Multifaceted design. When you're designing, when you're thinking about what you want to do, think about the guests seeing that. Defining a space. What are they going to do in that space? How can they use your space? Define it for them. They're on vacation. They don't want to think. Touch, experience. Is it going to last a long time? You do not want to replace things every 6 months. This is why I'm not a big fan of IKEA for certain things. We'll go over those things in a minute, and make sure they're safe.
Extremely safe. All right, let's do this. All right, is everybody here in the chat still? Are you guys getting some ideas for your spaces? Let us know. Drop a 1 if you are already online shopping for some stuff as we're talking. Awesome. Okay, it's good. Good energy back to us. Love it. Thank you.
All right, so 3 elements of a 5-star guest experience. We want to anticipate their needs. If they go to reach for it, it should be there. This is why we think that you should always have your truth-telling friend stay at your short-term rental when it's ready for guests. Not your friend who likes always appease you, but that friend who is always a little too honest. Have them stay and say, when you went to reach for something, was it there? When you wanted to plug your phone in, could you plug it in? When you wanted to grab for salt and pepper, was it there?
When you went to read your book at night in whatever chair or bed or couch, was there a lamp nearby that you could turn on?
And then how can you surprise and delight them? What is something unexpected you can give them in the design, right? Like they never imagined you'd have a basket of things that are commonly forgotten. Toothbrush, toothpaste, razors. That is very much a part of your design too. And the importance of the design, the 4 walls you surround your guests with can affect their mood. What do you want them to feel? Are they on a business trip? Do you want them to be able to be in and out? Maybe you got to go coffee cups, you got a Keurig, 1 cup, right? Like that is just as much a part of your design is as purposely not having Wi-Fi so they can unwind and unplug. Here where you spend your money and where you can save money. You want to go over this?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. High pieces. We say high pieces, higher dollar mattresses. Let's all face it. That is what the guest is truly paying for. They're paying to sleep in your space. They're staying overnight. Do not skimp here. There's no excuses. I just have to say, do not skimp there. And the pillows and the bedding, also your sofa. And I want to go over this really quick that I don't know if you know it, like the West Elms Party Bar, there are commercial grade bed frames and sofas. Look for that. You are going to have a lot more wear and tear. Hopefully not in a negative way. I'm not saying that in a negative way at all, but just, at your house, it's either you and maybe your partner and someone else using that. You know how it's used every day. There could be a lot of guests coming in and out. So just make the extra investment there. Amenities. There are things that you can go a little higher on that guests are going to, maybe it's your coffee, maybe it's your soap and shampoos and it doesn't have to be extreme, but just that little up level, they will feel so catered to. And then what we went over earlier, those lighting fixtures, they really are a great investment. Again, it's that 2 for 1. They are design and function. Spend that. Let's go over some of the lower pieces.
Wall art. This is where you can shop thrift stores, consignment stores, grandma's attic. You can make something. Wall art is something you can get very crafty on. decor throw pillows. I mean, these are going to be the first to look used and worn over time. So don't spend too much money on them. I like the kind where you get the case of the pillow and the insert are separate. So you can, once the outside, you can't wash it anymore. Like it's seen its day. You can, get rid of that and get a new one and a fresh one in. Kitchen supplies, as long as it's not the kind that's just gonna like melt the minute you put it to the pan, but you don't have to get like, unless you promise a chef's kitchen. Now, if you promise a chef's kitchen, you better have things to the kitchen that are approved by a chef. Mm-hmm. But other than that, you can, OXO brand is a great brand. Things at Target, things that aren't, if you've got a Target in your area, you can get more thrifty on those. And then rugs. Rugs are another thing that are going to get a lot of wear and tear. So don't feel too bad if you want to get something that's on the lower end, because you're going to refresh it maybe every
easy to swap out
12 to 24 months.
All right. We're at like 12 or we've got
all right. So here's some ideas for your inspiration. Theme your rental. We talked about that. It doesn't have to be literal. You can have like that one was women in history. So Stevie Nicks, Frida, Etta, streets in your town. There's some prominent streets in your town where you can like have photos of architecture in that area. Whatever you want, but themes are a great way to do it. Adding faux bathrooms.
We love this, faux bathrooms. And what we mean by that is in your space, there's a lot of people staying there. I see listings all the time, Sleep 16, and there's 4 bathrooms. Give them other places to get ready. Give them extra vanities, mirrors, extra blow dryers, set them up for success and help them out with that. And again, those can be in every bedroom. I see a lot of people now are doing get ready bars in a lot of like the bachelorette style properties. So just think about that. This is what I'm super passionate about. It's so cheap. Get hooks. You need hooks everywhere. People are staying for a night or 7, and some people a month, but like they're not hanging everything up. They don't want things on the floor. Give them hooks for their coat, give them hooks for their towels. They're not putting everything away in the closet. And so just help them out with that. And then this is another thing we're so passionate about. If you say you sleep 10, your table better have 10 seats, and then you better have 10 plates and 10 knives, at least. So that is stuff when you're thinking about design, you've got to get your guest count and the design have to be in alignment together. You can't have them fighting. If you want this like very sleek, sparse design and you have one couch and one chair again, but you sleep 16, you've got to think about that. That's not going to cater to the guest.
You can personalize your, and you can brand amenities. You can brand your mugs that guests can take with them. You can brand like phone chargers. You can brand anything you want.
Umbrellas,
and great. I just Shutterfly, Etsy. Those are both really great outlets for that. And then bed should be a gift for your guests to unwrap. Like put thought into how you make your bed. I don't want to tell you how to do it. Like that truly is however you want to, let your own imagination fly there, but it should be something you do with a lot of pride. All right, just some other photo examples
of the bed. It's like just even a couple of accent pillows really dress up and can create that for the bed. And you see this bed is all white, but has a quilt over it just to give it a little pop of color.
Yep. All right, DIY or hired out. If you're like, cool ladies, this sounds great. I have a great eye. Make sure you're creating some sort of concept board for yourself, keeping track of your ordering. When is something ordered? When you need to be delivered? Because time is money. Creating very simple concept boards like the ones you see here are a great way to keep you organized and see if it's going to come together the way you imagine it in your head. You can do this with like a software, but you can also do this in like Google Documents as well. You can just drag and drop images in there. Who can you hire? I don't know. This may or may not be common sense, but stagers we are actually speaking at the Real Estate Staging Association conference in July. So stagers, those who stage for places to sell, love doing this. And they're getting more and more education every day on how to take you from A to Z. Interior decorators and designers, of course, are getting there. This is less uncommon for them. They're doing more and more short-term rental design. And hosting companies. A lot of companies who host professionally have an interior designer on staff, and they also provide this service. So even if you're self-managing, you might want to reach out to a host company and see if they can do it for you. Keep the turnover in mind. This is not very long, okay, I promise. Keep the turnover process in mind. Don't stage too many knickknacks. It's going to be really tough to keep it clean. Know exactly how to clean all your surfaces. You don't want to invest in something and realize that you can't use this product on this surface. So how do you clean your couch? How do you clean your linens? How do you clean your countertops? And make sure you're arming your guests if you leave them with ways to clean as well. And then make restaging easy, right? So when you make your design, I mean, your turnover team is they're the people who are going to come in and really be the heartbeat of your listing. So make sure they have the tools necessary to get it back to phase one of the next guest coming in and feeling like they're the first guest to ever come into the space. Here are some episodes. We would talk more about design. We have a ton of them. Episode 132, it talks about photography. 130, just high design. Staging questions in 81, concierge services that very much relate to keeping your guests and having them come back. And then we had some HGTV hosts from this show, Stay or Sell. They had some really fun things to talk about their listing in Palm Springs. That was a really good one too. Okay.
All right, let's do this.
Sorry, Matthew. I hope that was
That was amazing.
Oh,
I don't want you to stop. I want you all to keep going. That was incredible. There was so much great information there. Like just things that you wouldn't think about. Absolutely phenomenal. I love the branding. It's not just about leaving a business card. Have a throw pillow with your name on it. Put a chart in there, something along those lines. Like that's absolutely incredible. The lighting and light bulbs, how important that is for a stay, especially for a guest, right? I know with us, we hate those big bright white lights, my wife and I. So seeing those instantly is going to scare us away a little bit. Wonderful. All right, we got a few questions here for you. So Stephanie and Lena had a question about, is there a certain order to arrange your photos and how to pick the cover photo of your listing? Do you have any insights to share with our hosts on that topic?
Well, number one, you said how many? Sorry, it was a two-part question.
Exactly. Well, is there a certain order to arrange? And then, how to select that primary cover photo?
Yeah, you want to make sure that your first 5 are all different. We see people a lot of times will put kitchen angle, different kitchen angle, and that's all that you see. You've got to remember that you get those 5. So you want people to be able to get a really nice feel for as much of your property as possible in the beginning. So you want to make sure that you're mixing those up and giving a really good feel for the property. And as far as your hero image photo, we suggest mixing that up from time to time.
Measure it, right? Like how many people are looking at your listing versus what your occupancy rates look like, right? And also maybe there's different times of the year where like summer, maybe your hero image is your hot tub, but in the winter you've got an inside fireplace. And so you want to swap that out. And remember when are people booking? So if people booking are far out in your marketplace, you can change those photos a little sooner, right? We would start like exchanging, summer for winter. If they're more like our market where it's very like 3 to 7 days before we get a booking, between the booking and the guest arrival, we can be a little more, on top of it in terms of what our hero image is. But you want something that stands out, that's not going to blend in with everyone else that's nearby you, have some contrast there. And so there's really no rule other than you want to make sure that you are putting something out there, understanding your metrics and measuring it and deciding if that's a good photo or not. Is it attracting your right guest?
That's awesome. And so that, we have another one in the interior exterior. It seems to me whatever's going to get you that wow factor, right? If the exterior's got that waterfall, if the interior's got that beautiful accent piece, like that's what we want to lead with, correct?
See, like Sarah has it right here, this A-frame. Like a lot of people are specifically searching for A-frames. You're going to want to prove, hey, we are legit A-frame in that photo. So yeah, if the exterior is your wow, or the view is your wow. I mean, the view could be the wow. It doesn't even have, you could be that picture. So that's what I'm thinking, encourage you to think outside the box. It doesn't have to be actually of your home. It could be you sitting on the porch looking out of the excellent view.
And the one thing that I really loved you sharing as well is like the 1.0, the 2.0, the 3.0, and then that comment just now about, it not being the end. Pay attention, see what's attracting those guests, make those adjustments as you go along. And, again, pay attention to that seasonality, how far they're booking out. All these little pieces lead to more success at the end. Okay, here. Do you think there are, I believe there's a limit to how many photos you can have, but is there too many photos? Like at what point do we just say, okay?
Yeah. I mean, just at what point do you say, okay, when you're booking the listing, right? I would say you want to give it, like Annette said, you have the first 5, you want to give a nice tour. And then the following photos, I like to do a tour of the home. So maybe you walk in the front door and so it's those photos. Then maybe the next room is the kitchen and the next room is the living room, and just giving like 2 to 3 of each space. because at some point they're not going to get to the end of the people are, you know how people are. We have very short attention spans. So make sure take really quality photos. They're all eye catching. They're all really clear and they're telling a story. I don't remember the photo count either though.
Yeah, it's changing and you can get fatigued on them too. So
yeah.
And,
I mean, I wouldn't fill them just to fill them. Like make sure they're all excellent pictures. A story can be told a lot of times with a smaller amount. So don't feel like, oh, I just need to put this many pictures to hit this quota. If you don't have good pictures, you're just going to be showing, it's going to get worse as it goes on and prolongs. So make sure you've got really sharp images there.
Yeah.
And if you allow pets, to throw some cute pets in there, like
people love dogs.
amazing, right? Oh my goodness. And we had one in here about the lighting. So wasn't soft lighting that you preferred, right? Or could you just give us a quick rehash there on the light bulbs and what we should use inside versus the garage?
Well, I was going to say too, I don't know if this is a state specific thing. So I will admit that, right? We live in Ohio, we live in the US. So, but in the US, there's a box, there's really two kinds of lighting. It's called soft white is what the box says, or there's daylight. And a lot of people get confused. They think the daylight, they're like, oh, I want the daylight no, daylight is that bluer hue and it's really meant for workspaces. Soft white is got that more, it's a warmer feel. And so sometimes today, the rest of your day, I don't know where you are in the world, but like when you go into spaces, you'll see like the tone of the bulb is either warm and sometimes people have mismatching bulbs. And so you'll see it's so like blue annoying. and then warm and then like, yeah. So, but the next few days, just be cognizant of your surroundings and see if you notice that, but there's daylight and soft white. We prefer soft white. 2,700 kelvins to 3,000 kelvins is a really nice range to be in. That's a comfortable space.
That's awesome. Do you offer design services? So what are some of the services that you offer, if any, or any maybe good links to find others that can help you in your local area?
So we do not offer design services. There are tons of people out there who would be more than happy to help you with design in your local area. Trust me, they're there to get started. Our only other resource is we offer a free workshop every month, and we have a private community, and so we invite people to join us there. Which there's a ton of designers in there that would love to help you. I was going to say, like, property.
I almost want to like match make anyone here because like I just want to help the designers. They're all like very hungry to like get their creativity out. Yeah. I know there's people who are just like, I don't have time for this. It's not what I'm good at. My goodness, there are so many talented people out there. Look at RESA, the Real Estate Staging Association. You can go to their website, and there are a lot of, I believe they list stagers that might be in your area. Again, this might be US specific. They're in Canada too, but yeah. Mm-hmm. Awesome, and e-design. You can also get an e-designer, right? So someone you find online, they shop for you, they get you links. They have like those mood boards I showed you or a rendering, and then you buy and you install. So that's also a really great cost-effective way to get a great design from an e-designer. Just Google that in your area.
All right. Oh, we did have you mentioned a couple conferences. Do you have any suggestions for folks out there? Any great short-term rental conferences that you've been a part of or that you're excited for upcoming?
Yeah, we're going to have one upcoming, but we did go to the short-term rental wealth conference that was here in the US. And it was the first time that it was put on. And there are a bunch coming up. We know of a lot of people that are starting to host them. So I would just say connect with us on Instagram. You'll see what we're doing, and we're going to be at a lot of those events. But yeah, they're starting to become more and more popular. There's a ton of vacation rental specific events, but they're becoming short-term rental specific events.
Awesome. Here's a quick one. We're hosting for max 4 guests. So how many plate settings do we have, right? For dining, should you have plates, forks, all that? What's the rule of thumb there, if you will?
So for me, I always ×2, because I'm thinking like if they have a meal, they don't have to wash their dishes before they can use dishes again, right? Mm-hmm. And if it's more of apartment style, and especially like you can know like what kind of guests you have. Like, are they going to go out to eat a lot? That's just where they're staying. Like that's just the vibe of the area. But if they're booking with you, a lot of people book because if there's a kitchen and they want to save money that way. And so ×2, ×3ing your plate count, your silverware count is not overdoing it.
And that has to go with your storage capabilities too. Like we're in where we are right now. There's a ton of storage here. So I would do times 3, times 4. There's a ton, like make it easy for them. They're on vacation. You don't want to cram your cupboards and your drawers, but pay attention to the space that you have, and, you can adjust accordingly. And that might be one of those things too. Maybe when you first start out, you have 8, and then 2.0, you double, and then 3.0, you triple. It's like, as you start to, have that revenue coming in, you can splurge and add some more of those place settings and some more forks and knives for your guest.
So that's pretty much most of the vast majority of questions that we have covered. Turnover. I never considered turnover in design. So I think some of the tips you mentioned, like limited knickknacks, make sure you're paying attention. Was there anything else that we may have rushed you through? Because I know that was at the very end, but again, that was another novel.
I will tell you, here's some stuff learned over time. And this isn't one of our properties, but we have it, like rugs with like there's, the tassels, those are a pain in the what to try to vacuum. Pay attention to the artwork. Can you get on top of it? Can you get on the sides of it? There's just a lot of stuff that if you have not cleaned your property, I encourage you to get in there and clean your property
once or twice, and just to understand what they're up against.
Mm-hmm. Like, we have some beautiful chandeliers in our property of ours, and I'm telling you, we have to block off a day to like get them cleaned. So like, be aware that sometimes those wow factor things, you might need to take some time to clean them.
Maybe some tech is part of your design. So maybe you have phone chargers at the table, like make it very easy for them to put them back, right? Or maybe you get a lamp that has the phone charger built into the base, right? Like simplifying that for your turnover team so they can focus on the clean and not tracking down the phone charger, just like making it bold, awesome, but like simple for them to put back the way that you wanted them to, and giving them clear instructions on how to do it. Don't expect them to understand it just because they saw the pictures. Explain to them why you decided to have the curtains staged this way. So when the guest walks in, it's this wow factor. I've learned this one cleaner. She wanted to leave the toilet open to prove that it was cleaned. Right. And so I told her, I was like, we always check our rentals before our guests come in. So you can close it. Or she would close the curtains in the living room because it was hot. It was summer. But I still we can do that. But like when we come in, we're going to open them anyways, because we want the guests to be, the room to be filled with light. Like that was a personal choice that I wanted. So I needed to make sure we were having these conversations and really getting to the bottom of it.
And the other thing is with the turnover being staged is, you have to make sure that what you advertise in that photo is what they get when they walk in. Mm-hmm. We see this all the time, that hosts will upgrade or things will not be there anymore, but that's not what the photos are still displayed. So when you do that 2.0, when you do that 3.0, you need to have the photos refreshed also. So the guest knows exactly what they're getting when they walk in.
Absolutely. And that was something that one of our hosts shared here that they find challenging, is having to hire a photographer for every one of their upgrades as they go through. So I can feel some of the pain there, especially as you jazz it up.
Well, that's the thing. Maybe it's just one room, I would encourage you, when you hire your photographer the first time, ask them, hey, could I add on now an additional, like, since I'm paying you, is there a way to sign that now when I am going to eventually make upgrades here? Just prep them for that. Mm-hmm.
Lastly, I'm sure you share some Airbnb inspiration. Do you share any nice listings that you come across on your website, on your social, anything that we could get some inspiration from you?
We do every Sunday on our Instagram. So if you listen to our podcast, or even just now, we have a hashtag. It's called hashtag STR Share Sunday, because every Sunday, if we see your hashtag and we think your place is amazing, we share it not only on our Instagram on Sunday so you can see it, but it's on our YouTube channel. We share you on the podcast. We, of course, blast you out to our entire email list. So, but if you follow that hashtag too, you'll see all these amazing people showing off their incredible, incredible spaces.
That's awesome. That's amazing. So, looks like that's our time for today.
Yes,
so first of all, yeah, thank you so much, Sarah and Annette, for leading this amazing masterclass. You shared so much great information with our host. There were so many great insights. It was amazing. I was truly, truly interested this entire time. Thank you both so very much. More importantly, thank you all for joining us here, being such a great, active, attentive audience. I know that you're all walking out of here with some fantastic ideas on how to style a listing, how to decorate it, and we can clearly see with those properties are going to get us more high value bookings, because I'm going to spend a couple extra bucks to stay in some wonderful place like that. So here at Hospitable, we love helping hosts streamline their business while generating more revenue with more bookings. As I mentioned earlier, we have a special offer for all you soon-to-be Hospitable hosts tonight. You can sign up for our 14-day free trial with a link that Stelly is going to drop in the chat. We'll also share it in our email tomorrow, along with some info from Sarah and Annette. And you'll get $20 off your first month with Hospitable. If you're already a Hospitable host and you want to bring more hosts on board, refer your friends using your unique referral link. You'll both get $20 off your bill if they sign up in the month of June. You can find that referral program by hitting up settings and then invite a host. Simple, easy, take you 10 seconds, and you're going to be helping a friend a great deal. Trust me, I know they're going to thank you later. And last but not least, so if you did enjoy tonight's event, join us next month for our next Hospitable Host Workshop. We're going to have 4 experienced hosts. They're going to share their stories of how they grew and scaled their business. They're going to have some great information for you, so make sure to join us on July 2nd. Oh, sorry, July 21st. We'll send out some emails for you as well. And that's all from me. It's pretty late over here in Portugal. Put your kids to bed. Sarah, Annette, you've both been absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us. We
Thank
appreciate
you. We
it.
appreciate everyone.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. We hope to work with you in the future again. So thanks all for joining us.
Absolutely.
Great rest of your day, evening, afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you all, and ciao, ciao.